Hello everybody. Well, can you believe that it is almost Christmas time again already? And how many of you have even started your Christmas shopping, much less finished your Christmas shopping? I never do a lot of shopping. The only family I have here, out here with me are, my kids, and since my husband is deceased. And so they rarely do any shopping either, so. And besides, all of us basically work on Christmas. They work in the motel business, and I work in the nursing home business. These people still need to be taken care of during the holidays. But nonetheless, do you remember what your favorite Christmas present was? Or, everything is special. I never re-gifted, and everything to me was special. But perhaps one thing that I got was just unique, I'll say. It was the most unique Christmas gift that I ever got. And I got it from my son, Joe, back in 99 or either 2000, I want to say. Mr. Furley, here's the neighbor. They just shut the door. But anyway, let me tell you the story behind the Christmas gift. Years ago, when I was in the 4th grade, for Christmas, I got a poetry book by James Whitcomb Riley, and I loved that poetry book. And I kept that book for years. And when I got married to my first husband, I still had that poetry book. Well, he ended up taking that poetry book and selling it without me knowing it. And I didn't know anything about it until after we had split up, and I was looking through my things and it wasn't there, and he admitted to me that he had sold my book, which pissed me off very much considering how much I loved it and how long I'd had it. So I had often talked about that book over the years, and we looked at bookstores and everything, and just could not find the book. So this was back, early before, you could get online and find anything that you wanted online. So we looked at all the bookstores, called the bookstores. They didn't have it, couldn't order it. And as far as we knew, just couldn't find it anywhere. So Joe went everywhere that year and ended up in an antique shop in downtown Greensboro. And at the antique shop, they told him that they didn't know if they had it or not, but they had a lot of books, and it would be upstairs in the attic if they had it, and he could feel free to browse. So he went up there, and he said it was damp up there, and the floor felt like it was going to fall in, but they had tons of books and everything. So he went up there, and he looked through all these boxes, and he found a book. And here it is. You can see the cover is torn on it, but I kept the cover anyway. And what's so unique about this book, this is the same book that I had. And let's just take the cover off. On the inside, this book was originally given to Frank Breedlove Smith Jr. from grandmother on February the 26th, 1944. So, and it's about James Whitcomb Riley. Now, James Whitcomb Riley died, let's see, he was born 1853 and died 1916. So they got it written there. Somebody was a big fan of James Whitcomb Riley, too. He died in 1916. And in the front, they have even pasted his obituary from the paper. James Whitcomb Riley's obituary from the paper. So this piece of paper right here is almost 100 years old now. It's 96 years old. He died in 1916. There's a, they sent somebody a letter, and it said, this letter is from the real Orphan Annie and is the one I wrote to her. I don't know what that means, but Little Orphan Annie is a poem in here, and we learned that poem in school. Little Orphan Annie come to our house to stay, and blah, 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 and scare the spooks away, or whatever. It's in here. I need to read that sometime. But here is the envelope that came in, and I'm trying to see how much that stamp is right here. 2 cents. Stamps then, and I'm not sure of the postmark here. I can't make that out. But the stamp was 2 cents. Does anybody see what postmark that is? So I know it's got a 2 cent stamp on it. That was also in the book. But the book is in relatively good shape. As far as that goes. It's not yellowed. It's not falling apart. It's in very good shape. And I love this book. And I thought that this was just so unique. They've also got in the back the home where James Whitcomb Rowley lived. That's his home, and about him. And so this right here is from the American Home, Famous American Homes, and it's dated September 1940. So this piece of paper right here is 18 years older than I am. So, yeah, but that's a pretty neat gift. So, of course I have a lot of gifts that stick out in my mind. Everybody's always gotten me a nice gift. But when I think about my favorite gift, I think as a little girl, aside from this book, like Joe got me, was a necklace, and it was called Lucky Lockets. How many of you in my age group remember the Lucky Locket necklace? It was like a little, it was about maybe that round, with a bubble on the front, and it had a doll on the inside. And they were called Lucky Lockets. And everybody had one back then. Everybody had their Lucky Locket. Yes, I wore my Lucky Locket to school like everybody else. And anyway, so tell me about some of your gifts. And until next time, bye-bye.